Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Hello, welcome to the show. 204-780-6868. Jets at Noon brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method. 204-780-6868. We'll announce a winner later in the show. Coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza.
Do you think it helps our clients when I just yell their names?
I think so.
Like Wash Method, they do this, they do that. Wash Method!
I think it helps them.
Boston Pizza! Because I know we're going to let you listeners tell us. Does it stick in your head then? There was that guy at the Sobeys about a year ago, was walking out. He was walking in with his boy on a Friday. He yelled across the parking lot, "Free for all!" I was like,
hey, pal.
And my little guy was like, "Why is that guy yelling at you?" And I'm like, well, because on Fridays I'm a bit of an idiot. But I hope it helps. I know some of you are going to text right now and go, "No, I hate the yelling," but you wouldn't tell that to AC/DC, so just
think about it like that. Just think of Jim as AC/DC.
You wouldn't tell Brian.
Think of him as Bon Scott.
Yeah, well, more Brian, but you wouldn't tell Brian Johnson, "Hey, hell's bells, but keep it down."
You want a
bit.
Brian Johnson or a Bon Scott guy?
I'm both. This is an interesting question. I'm a Brian Johnson guy. Yeah,
okay.
By far.
Yeah,
I do like it. See, you don't have to pick and decide.
Yeah, again, I love both. I'm a Bon Scott
my
guy.
favorite band of all time, and AC/DC's top 3.
Yeah.
But my favorite of all time is Van Halen. Van Halen and Guns N' Roses, by far. But everybody's like David or Sammy, and I'm like, CFL, NFL, you can like them both. It's okay.
Yeah.
I really, really, really like the Diamond Dave era, and I love the Sammy Hagar era. So you don't have to pick.
You don't got to pick. We are into, I don't know, like day 2 of the real hardcore Dylan Samberg watch. We still have no news. I know you know that negotiations are ongoing and have been ongoing. And whether there will be a arbitration hearing tomorrow, we will find out over the next little bit here. But the
no news is good news. Not in this case.
Not in this case. No. So what Elliot Friedman put out yes. Oh, by the way, Tim Stapleton's going to be joining us at 12:30. Looking forward to that conversation. An OG 2.0 Jet.
Tim Stapleton. Looking forward to this.
Yes.
Great interview back in the day.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward. Tim Stapleton will be joining us right after 12:30. But Elliot Friedman kind of put this out and got the firestorm starting. The Winnipeg Jets offering 2.5. The Dylan Samberg camp coming in at 6. And so we got a bunch of response. We're already getting text messages coming in, 204-780-6868 in regards to this. This is just an ongoing conversation, heated on both sides of the argument here. But just to kick things off here, still no news. But, I mean, Jim, do you think that this has any effect on the Jets locker room?
I don't think so.
Like, you don't think the Jets would be like, pay him? Like the players, but they don't deal with the business
the players
side,
are
right?
always like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There might be the odd player, and I don't mean in this room, but in general in the NHL, that will look at something and go, holy, for that guy?
Yeah.
But I think that would be the norm for a lot of us when we see somebody that, whatever we think of them, get something. I'll hearken back to the Jacob Trouba days when he held out. And there wasn't one person, save for Matthew Perreault, but there wasn't one person in that room when we were there daily covering it that didn't say, look, I know a lot of them said, listen, we all have short careers. You have to get yours. So we don't begrudge him. We want him here. He's a big part of we're friends with him and all that. But in this life, it's literally, I don't know if it was Wheeler or somebody. I think it was Wheeler who said, we have a small pocket of window to make life-changing money. Mm-hmm. And I think we forget that, right? Like we all sit back and go, well, that's way too much or this or that. But if we each, in whatever careers we had an opportunity to force a hand and get a lot more for a short period of time, I think we all would. Mm-hmm. Or at least do. Now there's bad advice on that and stuff like that. But so I always hearken back to that because he held out. And it was Matthew Perreault who said, yeah, it bothers me a little bit. And I'm paraphrasing here. Don't use a direct quote. But he was kind of, it bothers me a little bit if he doesn't want to be here with us as we start here. Then, he's not here. He's not one of us right now. So which was, not, and I only bring that up because that was not the norm. The rest of the players were like, we don't, pay attention in any player. And then when he did sign Jacob Trouba, everybody was like really happy for him and said, hey, you got, I think it was a 2-year, $6 million. So it was $3 million or something like that. And they were all like, hey man, he got $3 million. That's great for him. Yeah. That's how players view this. So I don't think it would cause any, acrimony in the locker room at all. But I can't, as we were kicking this around yesterday, and then, people on social media giving their opinions, which we always appreciate, and the text line, 780-6868, Cam at cjob.com, Jim at cjob.com. But as I was kicking this around last night, Cam, and even this morning when I sort of thinking of what we're going to talk about, I keep going back to Dylan Samberg probably has an agent that says, you're going to get $6 million either this year or next year. Let me do this. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay. Now, he might not get that this year if it goes to arbitration and gets a 1-year deal. But if this guy goes to free agency, and I think this is a fair question for everybody right now. If Dylan Samberg goes to unrestricted free agency next year, is there not at least 3 teams that will offer him $6 million a year?
I believe so.
Now, a lot of people are going to weigh in here, and feel free. We welcome all opinions. It's too much because he doesn't produce points. But somebody somewhere will pay him a couple-year contract at $6 million at 27 years old or 26 years old. So that's what I keep coming back to this with, and I think that's why the Jets the Jets started low to start low, and if it does go to arbitration, they're covering their bases because this will come in the middle around 4, maybe a little bit more. But if I'm in Dylan Samberg's camp and I'm his agent, you're a year away from unrestricted free agency. I think, let me do this. I'm going to get you $6 million a year. And it might not be this year, but through the process this year, I'll get it for you next year.
I hope that this doesn't get to arbitration. I hope that something happens either tomorrow before the hearing begins. If this is forced into a 1-year deal and Dylan Samberg walks to free agency, that is a total win for him.
And I will say this. If he goes to free agency next summer, I don't think it's over with the Jets over this.
Yeah.
He really likes it here. And he really likes the proximity. He really likes the Neil Pionks that is from his hometown and the connections here and all that. That we do know. He likes being a Winnipeg Jet and wants to be one. So I don't think it's over by then. But the cost next year might be 7. That's why this is dangerous for Kevin Shoveldayoff.
There's always that little bit of thing too, Jim, where it's like, dude, you guys had your chance. You ticked me off. There's always that. And I don't think that Dylan Samberg has a big ego or anything. He really doesn't come off as a guy like that.
No, I don't think he is.
But there's always that little bit, man. It's like,
but he's 26 years old, Cam.
Yeah.
Normally a guy in his spot with 3 years in is about 22, 23 years old.
They have many more years than he does.
And he has a 3 to 4 year deal at 4.5 per, and then he's facing free agency, right?
Yeah.
He's missed that deal by going to college for 3 years. Now he's coming out.
He was in the A for a good amount of time too, but he needed that development time, the transition from the NCAA. So we'll wait and see what happens.
Look, Kevin Shoveldayoff's not listening right now, but he could be listening, laughing, going, he's not getting, $6 million.
Yeah.
I just think his agent is doing. Now, the flip side of that is I think Shoveldayoff and the Jets are doing exactly what they do. This is your 3rd contract. We'd like to lock you up. But going from $1.4 million to $6 million with a $4.5 to $5 million raise isn't what we do. So if you want a shorter 3-year deal at 4.5 or a 2-year deal, I think they're thinking because 2 years of free agency, 3-year deal at 4.5.
They have done that before, though. They have given that big raise.
Yeah,
they have.
But the points have been there.
That's right. Yeah.
But I think, look, Kevin Shoveldayoff was a defenseman himself, and he was a stay-at-home defenseman. He knows how valuable Dylan Samberg is.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep thinking that, I don't know, you're literally this afternoon, if you don't have something in place, getting on planes this afternoon to go to Toronto or wherever to have these meetings. You have to be in Toronto tonight to walk to a hotel room with an arbitrator. So if something doesn't get done in the next couple hours or isn't done already, you are leaving tonight or this afternoon.
We'll squeeze in some thoughts from everybody. 204-780-6868. This texter says, I don't believe Chevy will let Samberg go. You know when it will get done, whatever the number needs to be. If he goes for $5 million, get it done. That one from Tom. This texter says, if he goes to free agency, he's gone. I wonder if they'll also lowball
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I think that Kevin Cheveldayoff has a proven track record of escalating players to the point where they get their fair market value. And I think if he's a UFA, that there's fair market value there. The danger is then the Minnesota Wild come circling in and go, hey, we'll give you 7.5.
Listen, there's a lot of teams who have that offensive guy locked up. They have the guy that's going to quarterback their power play. Every team could use a guy like Dylan Samberg, a shutdown defensive.
Every team.
That's why if he went to free agency, man, somebody would give him 6. Dom says, we'll close with this text message. Dom says, no more for Samberg than 5.5 for 8 years. Not worth more than JMO. Thanks a lot for the text messages, guys. 204-780-6868. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at Noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. The number one caller will be awarded a $50 gift card to Boston Pizza on Friday. We've only had a handful of calls to 204-780-6800. So that $50 gift card right now, as it stands, is wide open, everybody. So make sure you give us a call. Give us your best Jets take on the Jets at Noon hotline. Let's take a break. Let's come back. On the other side, we'll get some more, squeeze in a couple more text messages from you with your thoughts on the Dylan Samberg situation, with arbitration looming scheduled for tomorrow. And then Tim Stapleton, looking forward to this one, is going to be joining us right after 12:30. Don't go anywhere.
Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
We'll squeeze in a text message. We got the Tim Stapleton coming in here right after 12:30. This text comes from Jamie in Flin Flon. He says, I keep hearing about points production for Samberg. I don't want to diminish points, but how about the fact about his job is to play defense? His job is to defend and keep the other team from getting and producing points, and that is worth every bit as much in my mind. My job is to make His job is to make his goaltender's life easier. He's homegrown, loves Winnipeg, and wants to be here, so you can't let him walk because of that alone. If they had no problem getting free agents, maybe this wouldn't be as critical. You absolutely need to keep him. My thoughts are 4 to 5 years at $4.75 million to $5.25 million per year. Jamie, I would do that deal. I would do 4 years at 5.25 or 4.75.
I have a hard time believing the Jets wouldn't do that deal.
Yeah.
So to me, it's the ask is higher, right? Or there's been no give, I guess.
Tim Stapleton will be with us right after this. Welcome back to the show. Jets at Noon brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method. 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program as we're coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. While you're at it, download the Jets at Noon podcast, free now on Apple, Spotify, face-to-face on YouTube, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. With plenty of memorable Jets talk and episodes and special content exclusively found there, so you can take Jets at Noon wherever you go, whenever you want. Very excited to have a member of the Winnipeg Jets 2.0. Well, an OG member.
1.0.
2.0.
2.0, you're right, yeah. I tried to age him.
An OG member, Tim Stapleton, on the show. Hey, Tim, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, guys. I got hungry when you said Boston Pizza.
There you go. Right down by Portage Place. Did you ever venture there after a game and have a bite and a cold one?
Yeah. Usually I would go there by myself if I had a bad game. But it was, but no, it was great. Yeah, it was awesome. Even like in the minors when I would go there when I was playing with the Wolves, and it was just the Moose at the time. So,
what was that?
So you never went there because you never had a bad game, Tim.
Oh, all right. Well, I didn't know that. No one told me that.
So you were here with the AHL. What was like that crazy transition to the National Hockey League, and of course, it being a part of that team? I mean, that must have been wild. Yeah,
it was. Obviously, hockey's always big there, but it was when I got coming from Atlanta was the big eye opener as far as like I remember my brother came to watch me in Atlanta and told like whoever working at the hotel, like that I played for the Thrashers, and the guy was like, "Is that lacrosse team?" He had no idea. And then, I go to Winnipeg, and it was just, I've said this before, it's just like you're at the, dry cleaners, and the guy there is telling you how your power play sucks, and he's like right on, so it was definitely a big difference.
That's the difference, not only getting advice, but that's actually good advice. It's like, you know what, you're not wrong, buddy.
What was the
I was like, was this guy in our video meeting? Or I was like so confused. But
what was was that the craziest thing that happened between you and a fan when you were here?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the fans, I think that first year when I was there, it was a lucky time. I mean, I was lucky to be a part of that team, A, because it was just a great team, but B, like everyone was just so happy we were back. So we were like the lovable. We actually we did well that year. We didn't make playoffs, but no, there wasn't anything crazy really. I mean, I had fans maybe once in a while, like just I'd be like at a store and they'd just like, can you take me down in the locker room after the next game? And I'd just be like, no, you know what I mean? Like I was like, I don't know if I could. I don't know. It's just crazy to kind of get that question asked and stuff. And I get it, but at the time, I was like, I don't know if I'm getting like sent down. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't know if I could just start showing locker room tours. Like, I wasn't 100% sure where my status was. It was early in the season, but no, the fans, at least for me, were always the best fans I've experienced for sure.
So, Tim, that's interesting, right? Because you had 118 games in the show, and you had 37 points. You had a really good year that year. You had 27 points
goals.
in 63 games, 11 goals. But that's great. Like for any player like yourself, I assume looking back on your time, like you cherish it. But Jets 2.0 have that unique perspective of 2011-12, where you come here and you're trying to establish your career. You're glad you're an NHL player, all that. But then there's this aura around you of you just describing that. You were all literally rock stars. Like you said, you didn't even know your status, but yet from fan wise, you had the status of Sidney Crosby probably in this town for that year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say. I mean, you're right. It's crazy. And like I said, especially like coming from a place like Atlanta, where you could hear like the janitors having an argument, before a face-off, up in section 300. Like seriously, you'd have to like tell them to quiet down so we can. You know what I mean? It was, and then you come to Winnipeg, and it's just like everybody is so loyal and such a hockey fan, and they really support the team. But yes, it was definitely a big change for the good, because obviously the town can go, if you're not playing well, especially today, like they kind of get on you in a healthy way, I guess. But when I was there, we were like the lovable losers, if you want to say, like jokingly. But we didn't make playoffs, but it's like they didn't care. They were just happy we were back.
Well, what was that final year like in Atlanta? Was there like a sense that this team was going to be sold and moved, or did it come as a surprise to you guys?
I think it was a surprise. I mean, I think it was like talked about, but no, like we found out the ongoing joke is like if you did like this trivia question, like I scored the last goal for the Thrashers, which I did, but I made it. We were losing like 5-1 against Pittsburgh, and I made it 5-2. But we didn't know. We didn't know until like July. I was like hanging out with my buddy. Like it was like mid-July that I was going to Winnipeg. So for me, at least personally, like no, I wouldn't. It was a huge surprise for sure.
How do you look back in your career, Tim? I look at the Minnesota Duluth days, and of course the national championships they won after your time. There's a couple Jets here that were part of that, like Samberg's was there, and Neil Pionk and stuff. How do you look back at your career? And I would presume it's pretty proud of what you did.
Yeah, today I'm very grateful for it. I think I got a lot of great opportunities, and I think I was kind of at a time too where my size and it's kind of a smaller person's game now. I feel like a lot of guys like under 6 foot, a lot of really, really good players in the league. And so at my time, it was like that was a big hurdle, was this being 5'8" and kind of overcoming that part of it. But when I look back today, yes, it's all gratitude. It's definitely something that I'm proud that I was able to do, and it was pretty much been my entire life, right? So all my best friends are from hockey, and I think going back to Duluth, that was so those are some of my best friends too. And it's awesome to see what they've done. Like when I was there, we were like the JV team to the like Gophers, right? So today I feel like Duluth is like a big powerhouse school, and definitely proud to be a part of from that school. And my career has always been, I think out of the 13, 12 years I played, I had 11 one-year contracts. So wow. It's been my whole, thing was like, I don't know, like I didn't know going into juniors, like I didn't really know what the USHL was. And then getting, going to Duluth, like I didn't know what that was really. And then it just kind of every year was just kind of figuring it out, I guess you want to call it. But one of the big things is I was able to stay kind of healthy my whole career and never had setbacks and injuries, because I was kind of a guy that in my position or in my situation, like you kind of only had that like one opportunity. I might not even known it was the opportunity, but like I was able to continue to, just be ready and available, and it worked out where I was fortunate enough to play in the NHL. So it's definitely an honor for sure.
Did you get a contract offer from the Jets that last year?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. It was, we all knew there was going to be a lockout. I ended up getting a deal in Russia. And, it was, the money was good for me. And I just was like, I'll go. And I verbally like did a thing with the team in Russia where I was like, when the league starts back up, like, can I come back? But at the time we were, the playoffs start way earlier there. And so we were kind of like late in our season when the NHL was starting, which I think was until after the new year, I believe. I was like, hey, like I was thinking about going to Winnipeg, and the Russian team was like, no, like niet. And so it worked out though. We were in talks with like Claude Noel and stuff, and it wasn't anything. It wasn't definitely a lot of interest, and I was wanting to really come back, but at the time I just so happened to kind of stay. I had to kind of stay in Russia, and then I just stayed. I mean, it worked out kind of that way.
14 years and 11 one-year contracts. I mean, we all look at the big deals and the longevity of some players, right? But realistically, the average player plays 3.5 to 5 years. For you to eke this out and the way to do it, that's quite the way to live for 14 years, right? Never knowing.
I don't know if it's quite the way to live, but it's definitely. I guess in the good terms, it's being able to just focus on what's in front of you. I think my parents had a big role in my career. Like they just always kind of, they never put pressure on me. They always just kind of, made sure that they knew that they were just supporting me no matter what happened, even if I just one day didn't want to play. Because not knowing does kind of, not knowing that, once you start playing bad, you're like, oh no, like, am I not going to play again? Just because you don't have a contract for the upcoming years. So it could be tough, and there's a lot of mind games, and at times, it is a business and all the things you want to hear. But for me, it worked out, but it definitely is hard at times for sure.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I mean, not quite a life. I mean, it's like quite the way to live. That's. But good for you.
I love not knowing.
There's a Garth Brooks songs out there about that somewhere. What are you doing now?
So I was just looking at like golf wedges, because I'm trying to figure out, it's always the club's fault. It's not my fault. So I was literally just doing that. But what I'm doing is I run a business, me and another guy, a good friend of mine, over here in Indiana where I live, and we started this like South African biltong product, and it's like a kind of like a portable, high protein, no sugars, healthy snack that I'm just trying to make work. I've been doing it for like 5 years now and finding my way and learning things, and it's going good so far.
Well, let's give it a plug.
Yeah. Where can people find it?
You can get it on Amazon, but the problem is like it's called Boyke's Biltong. It's a really confusing name, I know. But Boikeys, but it's very similar to like, our beef jerky, right? Mm-hmm. But right now we're trying to make our way into Canada. So otherwise I'd be all over it, and that's all we would talk about right now. It's Amazon's basically our mainstream line of sales, but, we're going to be in Canada sooner or later. So hopefully, but either way that's where you get it, is Amazon or our website. We're kind of digital right now.
Yeah, okay. Well, just make sure everybody keep your eye out for that. I mean, all that time spent in Europe, I mean, how many countries did you hit? I mean, Switzerland, Germany, Finland, right? You spent some time there too. What?
I know, it almost looks like I was like the worst teammate ever, but that wasn't the case. I was just going from team to team, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know I forgot it was definitely like over 10, I think.
Yeah.
And
did you just want to sort
of... My daughter was born in Switzerland, so yeah, my daughter was born in Switzerland, which was pretty cool. And I missed the birth of my son. I was in Russia, and he wasn't going to be born in Russia, so I had to... it was like right before a game. My wife went into labor, and so I had to fly back. And I was like 10 hours late to him being born, I got to go back for 5 or 6 days, so... I guess back to your original. See, this is what I do. I venture off from the original question, but I don't know, 10 to plus over 10 countries, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, were you just trying to experience as much as you could, or was it just like, hey, I'm just looking for the next job?
No, yeah, it was probably more just kind of what was the best for the hockey sense. It wasn't like I want to live here, but. It just worked out. Like the older I got, obviously you could see like it's not like the leagues are like that. Like Germany's not like way worse than Russia. It's just the German players are not there's not as much depth as like the Russian players. And then the money kind of is different in all the leagues. But yeah, you could see I go from Russia to Switzerland to Germany. I started in Finland. And yeah, so it was all basically all based on hockey.
What was your favorite spot?
Probably Lugano, Switzerland, which is like right on the border. It's like 40 minutes from Milan, Italy, and it's just you can't even describe it. It's almost like too nice there. Like right, like there's this. It's Switzerland and in general is just, like the whole country is just such a beautiful country. But that was as far as living probably. But as playing, I mean, obviously Winnipeg, but Minsk, Belarus was awesome. I had a good time there. That was fun.
Tim Stapleton, awesome. Former Winnipeg Jet. Hey, Tim, we'll have to have you on during the season just to talk some hockey and some Jets and all that. Sound good?
Anytime, guys. I really appreciate it.
No, it was great, Tim. I remember covering that year and being in the locker room and talking to you guys and seeing you out and about at the bull riding and stuff. You were one of the best guys to interview and really appreciated your time here and being a Jet. So we're touching base with the 15th anniversary with a lot of the ex-Jets, so really happy you could join us. Thanks for doing it.
No, I'm just great. Yeah, thankful to be part of it, and I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, we got Tim Slater coming up later this week. Anything you want us to ask him?
Yeah, to ask him if he got any like new suits because he had the worst suits.
Okay, all right.
I actually remember the grief you guys would give him about that.
Oh, he was. He'll know.
I forgot about that.
He'll know.
Okay.
No, that's great. Tell him I said hello, and I love that. I mean, that was one of by far like my most favorite teams. So
yeah. All right, Tim.
Guys.
Take care. Eh? We'll talk again.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. All the best to you and yours.
Yeah,
that was great. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, it's 15-year anniversary coming up this season, and even him saying some stuff, I remember back in the...
Well, that's so funny. Like, because I was thinking when he didn't come back, well, it's like, yeah, I mean, he wasn't in a position where a lot of the other NHL guys who, he was fighting for one-year deals. He needed to go out and make some money. He couldn't just sit around and wait and then... come back to Canada and play, because I was always surprised when I was a kid and I was watching. I was like, why wouldn't they bring Tim Stapleton back? He had 11 goals. I mean, he was a great player that one year, and that's just the way things happen sometimes.
You made a great point, and that's the thing about work stoppage, right? Like, it ended up better for the league. All the players and the CBA and everything, the league and the players are all doing really well. But there's those guys that got caught up in it, right? Like I pretty sure if there had a season started in October, Tim Stapleton would have been in the NHL again.
Missed your chance to get your thoughts on the show today? Call the Boston Pizza Jets at Noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15. Only at BP. The number one caller will be awarded a $50 gift card to Boston Pizza. We'd have a couple of those calls come in, but we still, hey, listen, it's wide open. You want to win that $50 gift card? Call 204-780-6800. It could be anybody. We'll be right back to wrap up the show. Don't go anywhere.
Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Texter just said, who are you guys talking with? That was Tim Stapleton, OG Winnipeg Jets. We will touch base with him throughout the season. I want to get his thoughts on the Jets and for sure. And this other texter says the stapler. Yeah, Jim. Jim Slater will be with us.
Jim Slater, yeah.
Yes.
Jim Slater's
the stapler
coming
is in Tim Stapleton, yes.
Yeah.
Jim Slater is going to come up. I was just confused, as I usually am. The VIP winner for the car wash over at 690 St. Anne's Road with Wash Method. VIP text is going to go to Jamie from Flin Flon. So congratulations, Jamie. Read your text earlier on in the show. You are our VIP texter for the day.
Was that his handle, the Stapler? We got a text here. The Stapler that's a cool nickname.
It must have been, and if it's not, it was a missed opportunity. A total missed opportunity.
Also stands out from our conversation with him to be in Russia while your wife is carrying, and then goes into labor, and it go 10 hours, being 10 hours after the birth and making it, and then going back to play. Like the lost stories of any pro athlete's career. I mean, the Gold Eyes down the street here have some of the most amazing ones where there are literally guys making a couple $100 for the love of the game. I mean, that's
a heck of a flight crossing the pond, I'll tell you that.
30 years from now, Stapleton will be sitting with his son going, I missed your birth because I was on a plane from Milan to Minsk. An unbridled journey of enthusiasm to meet you.
Anyways, thank you very much, Jim Toth, for producing the show.
Me?
Yeah, whatever. I'm all over the place. My mind's
He's not on
working.
the air. He's not, I mean, he made it go, but he's not on the air.
Thank you very much, Every 4J, for producing the show. You can see my mind is totally out of it. See you later. Bye.